Juanita and welcome back to the Knit Guru. What do I have here? Here I have my Wairarapa A&P Show Home Industries Entry Form booklet for 2025. So what's the plan for this video? This video is working out what it is that we're going to put in our entries this year. If you look around behind me, you'll see that basically we've had to put most of the vegetable garden on hold, and the bit over there is even more filled with weeds. My plan has been, first sunny day, weed out a couple of beds so that at least I've got lettuce and rocket and cabbage growing, but no, I have not. So what have we got here? I have got the entry form. Now, the interesting thing about the entry form is that if you enter 5 things, it costs $5 each. If you enter 6 things, they drop to $1 each. So the main thing to remember is that we want to enter at least 6 things. That shouldn't be a problem. The entries close on Wednesday the 15th of October. As of right now, it is Wednesday the 2nd of October. So the first thing I need to do is figure out what we're entering and then go for it and see how many things I can complete. Because I had a grand plan over the course of this whole year, was to work on things that I could then just sit here, and when this came out, I could go bam, 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 bam. These are the things I'm entering. It's not what I've done. Right, okay, so if I go to the yarn section. Now, before I get to the yarn section, there is a craft section, and in the craft section, there are a couple of things that I'm tempted to do. Into needlework, there is dog coat any medium, which does mean I could make Rocky a jumper. So there's that. In the craft section, there's also a Christmas decoration. They also have bobbin lace making, so there's something that I might want to try at some point, but I'm not doing that in the next 2 weeks. I'm already aware of the fact that that's a difficult thing. There's an adult colouring page competition. Well, I'm not entering that because I'm no good at colouring. I'm no good at staying within the lines or finishing something, to be honest. Here we are, woolen section. This is what we want. So, last year we did quite well. We came third in a lot of categories, but there were a lot of categories where we didn't score at all. So my plan is, see if we can enter every category, and then see if we can get some seconds and firsts this year, because we did come first in the blanket section, and I feel like I've got a good chance at that again this year. Right, so first one, baby booties, 4-ply or finer, hand knitted, trimmings allowed, label included. Now, I haven't got any baby booties on hand, but I do have a pattern that I wrote for baby booties many moons ago called Springtime Booties. And I feel like I could knit up those. They've got a bit of a lace cuff, but mostly they're not a difficult knit. And it is one that I've been meaning to make a YouTube tutorial for the longest time. So I feel like that could be 2 birds, 1 stone, is making those baby booties. The next one is baby socks, 4-ply wool or finer, hand knitted, label included. Now, I've been working on baby socks. I have 1 pair of baby socks that I could enter, but I also could make some more baby socks that are slightly more complicated than the ones I've already made. So we'll see. I could even make them to match the springtime booties. I probably won't. I'll probably just work on the ones that I've been working on, and just make another pair of those, to be honest. But they didn't take too long. Like, I did the baby booties during a 24-hour play competition. The baby socks, sorry. I probably could have done more if I wasn't working at the same time. Then there's matching hat and scarf. No, sorry, baby singlet or all in one. I made a baby singlet last year, but I did not place in baby singlet. I didn't place in baby booties either. I did place in baby socks. That's because there weren't as many entries. But baby booties, no, baby singlet. I could do a baby singlet. I would just have to pull out a pattern and just crank it out, I reckon. If I go to one of those sites that is asking for baby items for a charity or for at the hospitals or neonatal units or one of those, I could do something like that. Make one of those and then gift it. Because I don't have any tiny babies this year. Last year I did have a tiny baby, so I worked up a seamless baby singlet, but my baby singlet didn't place. It was a very competitive category. Right, matching hat and scarf. I didn't enter this last year because I didn't have a scarf. This year I do have the triangular scarf that's got the colour work in it, and I did put aside the yarn that was left over, so I could make a hat to match the triangular scarf. That's my first thought. And probably the one that's going to be the fastest to get done, because I've got plenty of hats. I make a lot of hats, but I don't make as many scarves. I did make a scarf recently, but I really don't think that the ribbed scarf is what we want, to be honest. Okay, then we've got child's multicolored garment, double knit wool, label included. Last year I made a crochet cardigan, much like this one, for my niece. It didn't place. So I really think that was the categories that I didn't place in at all. I did whip it up really quickly, and I do know, looking at the ones that were there, they were all intarsia or colour work. So I could make a jumper for my nephew with a penguin on it. I feel like that would be a way to go, because penguins are his theme, and that it can be double knitting. Well, it should be double knitting, so it shouldn't take too long, but there is only like a month before these have to be handed in, and 2 weeks before I have to enter. I will enter the category, but whether or not I have something to put in that category is a different story. Right, adult garment, hand knitted, any ply or yarn. This is one where I could have a couple of options, and I'm tempted to enter two things. I should have my strawberry cardigan finished by then, and I can enter that. I don't think my strawberry cardigan will place, because last year the ones that placed were the ones that were complex. I had meant to do something with cables, but I didn't do anything with cables this year. Last year I entered the Hobie après ski mal, whatever one it was, and that came third. So what I'm thinking is that I'm going to make another Shakespeare vest. I've ordered some green yarn, so the other shade of the Penguin books, there's a green one and there's a brownie coloured one, but I might do one that says Complete Works, William Shakespeare, or I might go with Macbeth. Yeah, I want it to be a Shakespeare one, based solely on the fact that my Shakespeare one gets so much wear because I wear it to a lot of Shakespeare and theatre events. Shakespeare. I'm a Shakespeare Globe Centre New Zealand ambassador, so there's that. Then we've got funky chunky garment, 14 ply and upwards, any article, trimmings allowed. I could enter the Kate Moss vest, and that's my theory at the moment, is that I'll enter the Kate Moss vest. I'm thinking I might need to get a felting needle to deal with the ends on that, but I have worn that a couple of times, so I don't know if that counts before or against, but we'll see. That's my plan for that one, because last year I came third with the striped cardie. I do feel like the striped cardie was a more complicated thing to make. I could see, if I've got time in my stash, do I have any 14 ply yarn, and could I make some sort of cabled vest? I could probably do something like that, but again, we've still only got a month, and I am talking about knitting whole garments in the meantime. I did not do well this year at actually finishing stuff and not wearing it. However, I know we're coming up to some that I'm sorted for. Knitted tea cozy. Now, earlier in the year, I did make the tea cozy that's the Queen of Hearts theme, so I've got that ready to go. Knitted socks or gloves, one pair, knitted, any yarn. I do have my flamingo socks that I've gone out of my way to not wear so that I can enter them in this. I really want to wear them, but I want to enter them in this. So I've got those. A toy, knitted or crocheted, any yarn, trimmings allowed. This is the one where I feel like I should have plenty of options for this, but I don't, because the plan was to make a crocheted stingray with an open mouth that I could put other fish inside. I don't have any of those things. I mean, I do have some crocheted fish, but I haven't made the stingray. I do have the yarn to make the stingray. So do I sit with my plan, make a crochet stingray, submit that with a belly full of little fish? Or do I just find something that I've finished? I have finished plenty of amigurumi, so I've got options. Last year I came third in this category, and that was with my Ivysaur. The one that came first was a stackable ring rhinoceros thing, and I think the one that came second was one of those books for like the baby activity book with the tying and the thing and you know, the button, you know, one of those. A baby's blanket. Now, I don't have a baby's blanket, but I do have a project in the works that if I crank it out and finish it, it could technically classify as a baby's blanket, and it would be very cute. I do have plenty of baby yarn, and I've been meaning to make baby blankets. Like, I literally have yarn sitting in the container for 2 baby blankets ready to go, except with the construction. It's so far back in storage that I haven't been able to get to it. And I forgot that the reason I wanted a baby blanket was for the A&P show, not to give to a baby, because there's a shortage of babies in my life right now. They've all gotten larger. Knee rug, knitted or crocheted, any yarn. Now, I do have this one in progress. This is the one this is the category I came first in last year. And I did the 7-pointed star. This is the supernova. So technically, all I have to do with this is darn in the ends that I've got, and it's ready at any point. It's not finished for me because I'm aiming for a queen size thing. But this is a knee rug. So if I darned in my ends, in fact, if I just do the next 2 rows, that would take it to a point where it sits nice and flat, because it sits flatter on one that ends on a single crochet round. So I should just do that, darn in the ends, and then put this on hold for the next couple of weeks or months, and just submit this. That's my plan. The other one I can enter in this category is the giant knitting that I did, because that big project can well be done there. Any article knitted, any yarn may be subdivided. Any article knitted. Last year I entered the knitted daffodils. And I feel like everything that was in that category was something that was an unusual knitted item. I could go through what I've made and find something that's unusual. I feel like I should have something. I should just scroll through my, whatchamacallit, photos reel. Because I definitely will have something I can enter in any knitted item. And then there's any crochet item. It's spelt crochet wrong in here. Any yarn. Last year I entered the, it was the Granny all-in-one yarn, and I made it into a bag, and I entered that and it came third. So I came third with my daffodils as well. So by entering something that is outside of the, something that doesn't fit into any of the other categories, but I think looks good, that's what I need to be aiming for those categories. So currently, at this point, I am ready to submit maybe 4 items. I have 2 weeks to get this in. My sister is also entering this year, which means the level of competition has just gone through the roof. If I still had my mermaid, I could knit my mermaid. If I start and finish my random construction line project, that could go into the any knitted or crocheted item. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, so there's that, but I'll enter those categories. So that's where we're sitting at in our preparation from the A&P show. 2 weeks out from entry and 4 weeks out from actually submitting the items. So there's that. Right, I should get a box and start working on all the things that I haven't done. At least I have finished 2 complex things, and my lap blanket project is ahead of schedule. I have also ordered the yarn for a vest. I've actually ordered the yarn for 3 vests, because it turns out I think I'm a vest wearer now. Well, no, I've bought a pair of pants that I wear to these events that looks good with vests. And, you know, when you're working around backstage, you either get cold or hot. So vests turn out to be great. I do need to find something to work on as a child's garment, and that needs to be a priority as well as figure out what we're doing with the toy category. But that's where we're at the moment with our aim for win all the categories in the A&P show. Let's go. Hi, I'm Juanita and welcome back to the Knit Guru. And if you're thinking, is this a Chaos Car unboxing? No, this is not a Chaos Car unboxing. This is just a chaos. If you know, you know. Right, so putting into perspective everything that's going on, A&P show. I have until Tuesday next week to get all of my entries in. How many of them have I finished? I think maybe 3. And of those 3, that includes, you know, like tea cozy. So we're not talking the complicated ones to finish at all. Have I got things nearly finished? Sort of. Why am I filming this in the car, you ask? Well, yesterday we had storms. We had storms that took out houses, fences, trees, and schools got closed. So my school got closed, so I didn't go to work yesterday. I spent the whole day working from home, trying to get ahead on all the stuff that needs to be done for next week, because within the next week we also have an awards evening, performance at Government House, and a trip to Wellington to see a play on top of everything else to organise and getting the A&P show entries in. So, you know, it be chaos. Tomorrow is the mega strike. Now I say mega strike because we're all going on, teachers are going on strike. Secondary school teachers, I'm a secondary school teacher, we were going on strike first. So I'd like to say that everybody's copying us because we're the cool people, but it's never quite like that. And then I think primary school teachers are now going out on strike. I think teacher aides might be going out on strike. Either that or they're not going on strike. But either way, they don't get paid enough, so they're probably not striking because they can't afford to. I'm not laughing because it's funny, but I'm laughing because it just is ridiculous. Anyway, teachers, we're out on strike. Firefighters, that's my cousin, out on strike. Doctors, nurses, and now ACC. So ACC, Accident Compensation Corporation, they're the people. I love ACC. ACC have been working really hard to get my brain back going after my head injury. So 10 out of 10, love ACC. Is this a back seat full of pool noodles? Yes, it is, because I have a plan. And half of this plan involves you guys and the other half of this plan involves other things. Why are we in this car? Well, tomorrow we're anticipating wind gusts up to 130 kilometers an hour, but this time from the south. So it's going to be windy, it's going to be cold, and we're on strike. Did I mention we're building a house? Exactly. So it's chaos. So I thought I'm going to film this now because I have plans for tomorrow. Initially, my plans were, let's take what's finished into the A&P show. I could take both of those things. However, I've got a new plan. Here's my plan. My plan is to finish the following things, and I'll show you where I'm up to on stuff. This is a pair of socks that I'm entering in the A&P show. These, at the time of filming, these aren't live on my website yet. And I'm not sure whether or not they will be, but these are my road trip socks that I made recently. They look cool, but I need to darn in the ends. I haven't done that. So is this a big task? No, it should not take too long, but they're not finished, so one pair of socks. The next thing I've got, and this one is one where I've been trying to get it done, only I just haven't. For some reason, I decided it would be a great idea to re-knit my book vest, but this time do it as You Like It, because As You Like It and Hamlet are basically sister plays. They're written at the same time. There's a lot of similarities between the two. I know them both very well. I'm up to about here on the back, so I've got a little bit more to get the back done in this emerald green, and then I need to do the front. I am doing a really cool I-cord edge, so it won't need ribbing around the shoulders, so I think that's going to make this cool. There's a lot of Shakespeare news coming on this channel at some point. So there's that. That is the furthest from finished. It's not funny. This is the secret project. I'm not telling you what the secret project is, even though this video is probably going to be up long after the secret project is not secret anymore. It looks like it's really incomplete. It's not that incomplete. It's just that I haven't finished all of the tutorial parts, because secret project, I think, has about 25 different tutorials. So I've literally stopped Secret Project because I need to be able to film some more stuff for Secret Project. So that's a handful of Secret Project. But I think that Secret Project I could get finished probably by the end of the weekend, maybe not tomorrow, because of the filming that's required. Then what's next? In this project bag, this is honestly one of the cutest things I've ever made. This is the penguin sweater. So on the front, we've got a penguin. On the back, we've got 3 penguins. What this one needs is some duplicate stitch on the eyes, and it needs to sew the sleeves on and darn in all the ends. This has been at this stage for over a week now. So why haven't I done this yet? Look at all these yarn tails. That's why I haven't done this yet. I think there's over an hour's worth of darning and ends on this project alone, let alone the sewing it all up. So this could be several hours worth. So, but if I got that one done tomorrow, that would be also fantastic. Next on the list, the secondary pair of socks that I have been going out of my way not to wear. So basically I haven't finished them so that I can't wear them, because I want to enter them in the A&P show, because I think these are the ones that are going to win the sock category. I'm calling it, these are winning the sock category. However, what's left to do on these? I think I need to do duplicate stitch on the eyes of sock 2, and I need to darn in all the ends. Now you'll be thinking, well, that doesn't look like so many ends, 180. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's fine. I feel like I'm that meme. However, when we turn them into the inside, we have a lot of ends to weave in. So again, I think there's probably an hour's worth of ends to weave in on this pair of socks alone. I'm going to now turn them inside out, but they are beautiful, and I do think they're going to win the sock prize at the A&P show. At least I hope they do. Because if I sit down for an hour and do that, I'm looking at this pile thinking, I might have bitten off way more than I can chew to finish off these. This here is the lap blanket. This is the Supernova blanket from Betty McKnit. And the reason I made this is that I made the 6-day star crochet blanket last year, and it came in first. So I thought, oh, I'll do one of the more complicated ones. But what I've now realized is, why am I doing that? Because you're not allowed to enter the same thing twice, so the same actual item. What if they think this is the same one as last year? Because I've done another rainbow star blanket. I should have done not a rainbow. However, I started this one when I had concussion. So, well, when I first got concussed, and I could crochet again, I ordered this yarn. So this one is a relatively new project anyway, but other than the first bit where I have darned in the ends for the first wee bit of the rainbow, like the first rainbow repeat, I've darned in those. I still have all of these to darn in. So that is again over an hour's worth of darning just for this blanket. Will it win the category? I don't know. I would like to think so, but it's also possible that they'll think it's the same one as last year, even though this is not the same one as last year. It's bigger than last year's. It's in a smaller gauge yarn. It's with a smaller hook. But it is still rainbow. But the last one used red. This one uses pink in my rainbow. I prefer a pink in a rainbow. This is the other one that I need to get finished. This is my strawberry cardigan. The actual cardigan for this has been finished for months. And I'm not even exaggerating, months. Initially, I needed to change up something around the neck, and I think I've done that. And that's now sitting much nicer around the neck. Now, the next thing I need to do is I need to put the rest of the green leaves on my strawberries, but I actually want to make some more strawberries. I have this much, where has it gone? I have this much yarn left on ball 1, and I do have another ball of this because I found it. So there's several hours worth on this one. So if I look at it, The orange socks are the fastest things to finish. That's maybe 15 minutes for the orange socks. I need to finish those. These will be the next easiest to finish. Oh God, that's actually intimidating. There's about an hour at least on these ones. So that's taking us, if I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and get going at this, that will get me to about 7:30 in breakfast. If I can finish the 2 pairs of socks before breakfast, that is a win. Then I think the next easiest to finish is going to be this blanket. So after breakfast, before morning tea, this one could take me up until 9 o'clock in the morning. That would be a great timeline. I should really write these down so that I can keep you informed as to where I'm up to. I have got so many bits and pieces on these, it's not funny. Then I think the next one that's going to be the next easiest to finish will be this one. I think there's at least 2 hours worth of work on this one, maybe 3. If I finished this by lunch, I would be happy. Then we've got the strawberry cardie. For this, there's definitely some more knitting to do on this one. But if I sit and knit strawberries solidly for an hour and then sewed them on for the next hour and 2 hours really by the time I do all the green as well, that could be done by 3 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock. I could have this one finished. I don't think I've got a medical appointment tomorrow. I have a lot of brain appointments these days. So we'll have to check the schedule on that one. That would take us to 4 o'clock if I did nothing else. I will not get this vest finished tomorrow, but I'd like to at least finish the front. I feel like I might be able to finish the front tonight if I just worked on this tonight. The one that I'm... If my stepson goes to his course tomorrow, which is unlikely because of the weather, it might be cancelled, I can film the last of the intros and then I can finish next steps on these bits, and then I can do following. So I need to film an intro for all of these, and I need to do the next steps, which will take me about 2 hours to do the next steps. And then the next bit would be that. So that would be another maybe hour. So it's 3 hours. Plus then the next bit, which would be at least another hour, maybe 2. But by that point, it would actually be done. I would just have to do a lot of, what do you call it? Introductions. Yeah. So that's my plan. Why am I filming it now? Because I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to film it later on because it'll be too windy and too noisy. So that's my plan. I'm going to see in the next 24 hours how many of those projects I can actually get finished, and then maybe drop some of them off to the A&P show. And then become a champion. And then not this weekend, but next weekend I need to go to the A&P show. Because the main reason, well, not the main reason, but one of the perks from entering this many things is they give me a free family pass. And also because I'm a member of the Agricultural and Pastoral Society, I get another free family pass. And then I can use it to take my sister and her family along as well. So, you know, that's always quite fun. Anyway, what's now the next job? Get stuff done. I need to get stuff done because my 24 hours technically starts now, because I've actually kind of intimidated myself by going through the list. And this isn't even everything. This doesn't include the baby booties I need to knit, the hat that I need to knit that isn't in my list of things to finish. Because so far with the hat, I think I've cast it on and knit 2 rows. So it's a long way from done. Yeah. And then what? Arrgh! I need to knit another pair of baby socks, but that shouldn't take too long. Somewhere I've got a pair of baby socks that I need to darn the ends into. So maybe if I find those and put them in the basket, that's then another pair of socks, and I could have 3 things finished by breakfast, but they're all socks. I don't think I'm going to get to baby singlet because I haven't started that. And I don't think I'm going to get to one of the other categories. Yeah, I think there's no chance of that. I was going to crochet a stingray, but I don't think I'm going to have time. But we'll see how we go, because I do have a 3-day weekend after tomorrow. I say this as though let's see how much I can finish in the next 24 hours, if nothing else. That's the priority, I think. Yes, that's the priority. Let's go.
Myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the moment.
All right, here we go with our A&P Show roundup. At least the weather's kind of nice, and I'm going to tell you how I got on and what in the end got entered, because it was very much a rush up until the end. So a lot of what was entered, she says moving it aside, was because I had to have something in the category. There were a lot of compromises made. A lot of compromises. A lot more compromises than I wanted to make. But there were still some surprises in the results. I don't necessarily agree with the results, but there were some surprises. So I'm just trying to get down to the bottom of this box so that I can throw everything back in the box. Because as you know, the house is not finished. We have not moved in. None of this can make it to its final home. Okay, so I think I've got everything out and we can talk about it. So the first thing I entered was the giant knitting blanket. Now the main reason I wanted to enter this is that it looks cool. And I put down 2 blankets because I thought, you know what? Maybe they're going to look at this and say, this is something different. Maybe they'll want to hang it someplace interesting. Either way, it's another entry taken care of, and I've got it in. Unplaced. Are we or are we not surprised? I was not surprised as to not placing with the giant blanket. Because, not that I had all of my eggs in my one basket, but if you remember rightly from last year, I went in cocky. Cocky? Well, not so much cocky, but I went in knowing exactly what I was going to be doing. I was going to be entering the Supernova blanket because this is a more complicated design than the one that won last year, that I won the category last year with the 6-day star crochet blanket. I did that in a larger yarn, larger hook size, and less complicated pattern. I thought, you know what, this is going to clean up the section because this is bigger, this has got more rows, this has got no mistakes, because there were mistakes in my last one. But no, this was surprise number 1 of the event. Now I have not finished this blanket, but I am putting it back in this box because I'm not bittersweet about it. Or am I? Where's the certificate? Because yes, I do have a pile of certificates, and no, I am not going to be ashamed about holding on to them all. Will I frame them and put them in my room? Yes, I will. 3rd prize. Third, even though it's clearly more challenging than the one that won last year. I don't understand. Maybe I just need to not do as many colours. I don't know what blanket I'm entering next year, but I've got a 1st and I've got a 3rd in this category. So now my aim is to get the other one, 2nd. Oh, my brain is not working today. Is this right? Okay. So last year I entered the striped cardigan, which was a pattern from the Joy Make Club. I'll try and remember to link the video about that. And then this year, Marnie gave me the opportunity to test knit this vest. I have worn this vest a lot, so I wasn't expecting to place with this vest. I was hoping to do another project rather than enter something that had been clearly worn. However, the Kate Moss vest in the funky chunky adult garment made with a yarn larger than 14 ply, this came, wait for it, Second, this surprised me because A, it's been worn, and B, it was nowhere near as complex as last year's one with the stripes. So they put the cables up the side, and the cabled one, which I thought was more complicated, only came third. But it could have been the quality of the competition. Either way, that was my second place, and that was a little bit exciting. Then what have we got? I did have 2 entries down to enter in the adult garment, but I didn't have my vest finished in time. So I ended up with... Right, after a bit of technical difficulty, I've lost the mount. I haven't lost the mount, but I've lost the mount. I know where it is. Adjacent. So my my camera's balancing on top of my tripod. Anyway, adult garment, any yarn. I entered my strawberry cardigan because at least I had my strawberry cardigan finished. Not placed at all, admittedly. I'm not overly happy with the collar on this, so, you know, I'm okay with that. And it was a category that was heavily entered. So it was just one of those ones that was annoying because I knew that I wanted to have my book vest in for that category. I have now since finished my book vest, and I do feel like my book vest may well have actually placed in that category because I went all out. There's all sorts of challenges in that one. However, unplaced in adult garment. Did I place an adult garment last year? I'll actually have to go back and review the footage to see even if I got something entered into adult garment last year, because I'm not sure. I put this hat under any knitted item because I figured this is some highly complicated Fair Isle knitting. Unplaced. Admittedly, I do think that that category exists so that it can be something quirkier, because last year my daffodils came in third. So, you know, there's that. Then, tea cozy. I was certain that my tea cozy was going to place, because last year I made a tea cozy and it was the Japanese style knitting with the puff stitches. This year I thought this one's themed. It's got bits all over it. It's Queen of Hearts. What's not to like? Unplaced. The number of hours spent darning an ends for this to be unplaced. They did say no teapots provided, so I didn't provide a teapot, but other people did stuff theirs. So I'm wondering if I had put some stuffing inside mine, would that have helped? Maybe I'll do that for next year. I'm tempted to enter this one again next year. Actually, I think I might. I might just enter that one again next year anyway, because I was particularly proud of it. Right, okay, baby socks. Last year, did I get placed in baby socks? I either got placed in baby socks as third, or I didn't place at all in baby socks. And what I thought was going to happen with the baby socks category is that I was going to do well, because I went with a very tiny stitch, a very tiny needle, and they're very stretchy. I did place in baby socks. I placed second. But the pair that came first was actually a much larger pair. So I've got to put my thinking cap on. I might do something with a frill or a ruffle next year. But I got third in baby socks. I will carry on with my sock winning journey, because I went in cocky with socks. I thought there is zero chance I'm not winning the sock category with these socks here, Metropical knit socks. However, I didn't actually finish with all of the beaks. I did tell myself that it doesn't matter, because I may not have finished with all the beaks and things because I lost the yarn. I've since found the yarn this morning. So I can still finish these, and if I finish these I can enter them again next year. But these here, which I thought were my guaranteed first place, were not. The one that did place first, and I was salty about for some time, were a very perfectly knitted pair of socks made with that opal yarn that self-stripes. but they had been blocked nicely. So maybe what I need to do is actually finish my beaks and things on this and block these socks, and then they're going to do better. So those socks there came in second. I also took away a wee coup in this section because I did decide to darn in the ends of my road trip socks. I think I've got this pattern up live on my channel. These knitted up really quickly, but these came third. Again, these were a more complicated stitch than the ones that came first. It's just that these weren't blocked. So there's that. However, if I pull this, my certificate, third place, gloves or socks. There were not many gloves entered. I'm tempted to enter some gloves, but at the same time, I am not tempted to knit fingers. Baby booties. I made these ones. They're beautiful. They've got the lacy motif. They look like daffodil trumpets to me. And I think, from memory, nowhere, not placed anywhere. I will keep working on baby booties because I am determined to be placed in baby booties. Then we've got this one. This one is about to become part of my nephew's Christmas present. This is child's garment, multicoloured. This is the penguin vest. I think I actually need to film a bit of a YouTube clip for this one because I do have the pattern written out and I am going to release it because it is very cute and it's now award-winning. However, this was only third, but they put it on display with just one penguin showing. Maybe it would be better with the three penguins. I don't know. Either way, it came third. It was fun to knit and it's a beautiful garment, so I'm not unhappy with my thirds or my seconds, for that matter. I am holding on to one which I think is hilarious. That brings us to any crocheted item, and I couldn't actually get into the storage container and I was running late. So I just threw in my capybara for any crocheted item. Now what's interesting with this is it didn't place at all. Again, I think it comes down to the fact that they were looking for something that doesn't actually fit under any of the other categories. I just thought he had a really sweet face and he came out so nicely. He also, that's what I should have remembered. He's got magnets in his head. I could have put the fruits in there. Whoops. Under the knitted toy, I came third. Knitted or crocheted toy. I entered two. I entered my duck that I am so proud of, made from the vintage pattern with vintage yarn and the hand sewed on eyes. So this is completely child friendly. And my Zaddy Crafts fox, which I was literally in the car shoving in one more end that I think on this arm here that had popped out. I was not expecting this to come third because last year my highly complicated Venusaur pattern, Venusaur design came in third. I was expecting the duck to do better because the duck took longer and all of that kind of stuff. And I thought what was being rewarded in this category was playability. I feel like the soft yarn is making a difference, so I need to get my stingray sorted for next year because I have a design, I have the yarn, I just ran out of time. But I am still really proud of my duck, and I'm really proud that I put it in there to be judged because I think it's really cute. There's no backstory that went with it, so I might be disproportionately proud of my vintage duck. So there's that. Those were my entries this year. I didn't manage to get anything into matching hat and scarf yet again. I didn't get anything into baby singlet. And I didn't get anything into... There were about 3 or 4 categories that I got nothing submitted for. And there were several categories that I had ideas of what I was going to put in that I had to sacrifice and submit something else at the last minute. So overall, I think I did well. I walked away with more prize money by about $3 than I did last year. But last year I did get a first. So it was bittersweet. I was hoping to do some sort of cleanup. However, I'm very proud of socks. For my 2 pairs of socks to walk away with a placing, it does make me think that for next year, what I'm going to do is finish off those tropical socks and block them, and I'm going to enter them again. Because the one advantage I've got is that you can't enter something that's won the category again, but I can enter something that's come second. So I've got every intention of doing that. And other than that, we'll see how we go. We're now about a couple of weeks since the A&P show, and my sister cleaned up. She won 2 categories. My auntie Jo, she came first and second in some categories. My nephew won the woodworking category for children his age. My other nephew won any craft of any type with a hat that he had made. So they were both all really happy. It was a fun family day out. So what my recommendation is to any of you in New Zealand, look up your local A&P show. Look up Home Industries and enter it, because if nothing else, there's something really sweet and adorable about going along to a local farming event, being part of the community and just going, there's something that I did and there's other people looking at it and admiring it. Did we do it so that we could win $2 to $5 in a category? No. It's not why we enter at all. We enter for the sheer joy of it. So there's that. I had a fantastic time. I thoroughly enjoyed entering, and the fact that I entered so many categories, I ended up with free entry into the A&P show. And then because I placed in so many categories, it was entries were overall free for me. Admittedly, I did pay for the entries for my auntie Jo, my 2 nephews and my sister. So it did cost me more than I made in the end, but we won't worry about semantics. In the meantime, I will see you next week. If you would like to see what we did last year, I'll try and link last year's video up here. I will link a whole playlist of other yarn events down the bottom. And if you want to stick around and see what I submit in 2026, you can subscribe up here in the corner. I will catch you later on. Bye. Yeah, I can't really do the hand in front of the thing because I'm afraid of knocking my camera off again, so there's that. Anyway, bye.